The episode wastes no time pulling us right into chaos. Caleb's plane is sputtering midair, the engine choking on failure as he tries to stay calm. Nathan sits beside him, both men pale but focused, their fear thick in the air. They're flying back from Pike River after visiting Nathan's injured father, and what should have been a short, routine flight suddenly becomes a desperate struggle to survive. Every second feels stretched thin as Caleb grips the controls, searching the horizon for any sign of a place to land. The sound of the dying engine fades, replaced by the steady beat of their racing hearts. When Caleb finally spots an open field, hope flares, but so does dread. There's no time for finesse, only instinct. The landing is rough, violent, but somehow, they make it down. The plane is battered, the men shaken, yet alive. For a moment, it feels like a miracle. But as Caleb looks around at the endless wilderness, reality sinks in. They're safe, but stranded. Meanwhile, back at Heartland, the ripple of fear begins to spread. Amy and Ashley hear the news from Dale, a local rancher who's been working closely with Amy. He mentions a plane down somewhere between the Ridge and Pike River. Amy's heart drops. She knows that's Caleb's route. Dale promises to send a rescue helicopter, but when another emergency diverts it, the women realize no one else is coming. That's when Amy makes a choice that defines her. She won't wait. She'll ride out herself. Ashley, despite her own fears, insists on going too. It's a powerful moment, not just of courage, but of trust. These two women, once rivals, now share a common purpose. They saddle up their horses, ready to face the unknown. Dale doubts the horses are trained for such a dangerous journey, but Amy believes in them. She always has. The bond between horse and rider has saved lives before, and it will again. Back in the wilderness, Caleb and Nathan start assessing their situation. The radio works, barely, but the battery is low. Caleb tries to send a signal, only to drain what little power remains. His frustration is palpable, but Nathan's anger burns hotter. He blames Caleb for everything, for the crash, for Amy, even for his own restlessness. Their words cut deep, echoing with years of unspoken resentment. This isn't just about survival, it's about pride, guilt, and the ghosts they've both been running from. When night falls, the temperature drops and their fragile truce begins to crack. A distant growl breaks the silence, a bear circling. Caleb urges them to stay near the wreck, but Nathan, restless and defiant, heads out in search of water. Minutes turn into hours, and when Caleb finds him again, Nathan's injured and barely able to walk. The tension between them finally collapses into something raw and human. Caleb, bruised and exhausted, takes charge, forcing Nathan to accept his help. At the ranch, Jack faces a challenge of his own. His new ranch hand, Dex, is proving to be more trouble than help. He can't saddle a horse properly, keeps mixing up tools, and seems distracted. Lou and Lisa exchange amused looks, betting he won't last the week. Jack, though, sees something else. A flicker of determination buried beneath Dex's clumsy exterior. Still, patience only goes so far. When Dex suddenly announces he needs to go into town for an appointment, Jack assumes it's another excuse to slack off. But there's more to Dex's story than anyone realizes. As Amy and Ashley press deeper into the wild, the parallels between them and their horses become impossible to miss. The animals are nervous, uncertain, mirroring the tension between the riders. But as they navigate rough terrain, Amy realizes the horses only find rhythm when they move side by side, not apart. It's a metaphor that quietly defines the entire episode. No one can make it alone, no matter how strong they are. Step by step, the women begin to work together, both in sync and in spirit. The wilderness challenges them physically, but what they're really battling are the insecurities that linger inside. Ashley's fear of being hurt again, Amy's fear of losing someone she loves. The suspense builds with each passing minute. The camera would linger on small details if this were on screen. The dying radio light, the horse's heavy breaths, Amy's eyes scanning the horizon. But in spirit, it's the stillness that hits hardest. Everyone in Heartland seems to be waiting for something, a sign, a miracle, or simply the strength to keep believing. And as night falls again over the Heartland Valley, one truth becomes clear. Survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about finding your way back, to hope, to forgiveness, and to each other. The morning light creeps through the broken windows of the downed plane. Caleb wakes first, shivering under the thin blanket of his jacket. Nathan is still asleep, his ankle swollen and bruised from the night before. The storm has passed, but the danger hasn't. The radio is dead. The food is almost gone. Caleb forces himself to stay calm. He's been through tough scrapes before, but this one feels different. Out here, it's not just about strength, it's about trust, and Nathan has made that hard to find. When Nathan finally stirs, his pride kicks in before his gratitude does. He insists he can walk, even though every step makes him wince. Caleb doesn't argue. He's too tired for another fight. But the silence between them is heavier than any words they could throw. Back at Heartland, Amy and Ashley are deep into the backcountry, following what little guidance Dale could give them. The air is thin, the path uneven, but they press forward. Their horses snort nervously as the sound of rushing water echoes from the valley below. Amy checks the compass, steady as ever. Ashley, though, struggles. Her body aches, her mind drifts, and the guilt she's been carrying feels impossible to ignore. She blurts out what she's been holding in, how her second marriage fell apart, how she blames herself for trusting too easily. Amy listens quietly, her eyes soft but firm. She doesn't offer empty comfort. Instead, she tells Ashley something simple. Pain doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're still healing. It's a small exchange, but it's one of those moments Heartland fans live for. Two women, once divided by jealousy, now united by understanding. Meanwhile, the ranch feels oddly quiet. Jack, never one to sit still, throws himself into chores to distract from his worry. Lou and Lisa try to keep spirits up, but the absence of news weighs heavy. Dex returns from town, looking worn out and distracted. Jack's temper flares. He can't understand why this kid can't commit. But when Dex winces, holding his shoulder, Jack's irritation fades into concern. He knows that kind of pain too well, the kind you can't hide behind excuses. Still, Dex says nothing. Whatever he's running from, it's not ready to be spoken aloud yet. Back in the wilderness, Caleb and Nathan's situation grows desperate. The night brings freezing temperatures, forcing them to share a single tarp for warmth. It's an awkward truce, but it's also the first real moment of honesty between them. Nathan admits he's been jealous, not of Caleb's skills, but of his certainty. "You always seem to know who you are," he says, voice rough from exhaustion. Caleb laughs quietly. "If you think I've got it figured out, you haven't been paying attention." That line lands like a quiet confession. Beneath Caleb's confidence lies doubt, grief, and a longing for the people he's lost. Ty's name isn't spoken, but his shadow lingers over every word. At Heartland, Lou finds Katie trying on outfits for her night out with her rodeo friends. The scene is light, but it's layered. Katie's growing up, unsure of who she wants to be or how she fits into the Heartland legacy. Lou, remembering her own restless youth, offers gentle advice. Be yourself. The right people will see you. It's a rare moment of peace before the story's tension rises again. When Katie finally heads out, clutching her new instant camera, it feels like a small step toward independence and a subtle echo of her mother's strength. Back on the trail, Amy and Ashley face their toughest obstacle yet, a swollen river cutting across their path. The current is wild, the water ice cold. For a moment, Ashley hesitates, fear creeping back in. But Amy rides first, urging her horse forward. The animal stumbles but steadies itself, guided by trust. Ashley follows, trembling but determined. By the time they reach the other side, both women are drenched but alive and changed. The scene doesn't need words to show what it means. They've crossed more than a river. They've crossed into understanding. As night falls once more, the story shifts back to Caleb and Nathan. The bear returns, its growls echoing through the dark. Caleb grabs a flare from the emergency kit, holding it high, the red glow slicing through the night. The bear hesitates, then retreats. The relief is short-lived. Nathan's fever has spiked, his injury infected. Caleb stays awake, forcing himself to keep watch. The wilderness is silent except for the crackle of the dying fire and the soft sound of Nathan's breathing. It's a lonely kind of courage, one that doesn't ask for thanks. Morning comes like mercy. The distant sound of hooves breaks the quiet. Caleb thinks he's dreaming at first, but when he sees Amy and Ashley riding toward them, he nearly collapses in disbelief. The reunion is brief but emotional, no dramatic speeches, just tearful relief. Amy checks Nathan's leg while Ashley helps Caleb to his feet. The long journey home begins. But even as they make their way back, a new tension builds. Something about Nathan's father's accident doesn't add up, and the mention of a mysterious visitor in Pike River, someone who asked about the Heartland Ranch, plants a seed of unease that will grow in the episodes to come. The wilderness may have tested them, but what waits back home might test them even more. When Amy, Ashley, Caleb, and Nathan finally make it back to Heartland, the ranch feels like a safe haven. And yet, there's a new heaviness in the air. The reunion is tender, but quiet. Jack is the first to step forward, his eyes full of relief and worry all at once. He doesn't need to say much. A firm hand on Caleb's shoulder says it all. Amy hugs him tightly, her eyes glistening. For a moment, it feels like the world has steadied again. But beneath the smiles and the comfort of home, something has shifted. The experience in the wilderness has changed them all, leaving behind truths that can't be buried as easily as a broken plane. Nathan, still pale from his fever, is helped inside by Ashley. Their interaction is awkward, two people still learning how to apologize without words. Amy lingers near Caleb, watching him with concern. He insists he's fine, brushing it off with his usual half grin, but she can see the wear in his eyes. "You don't have to be the strong one all the time," she tells him softly. He laughs, but the words hit home. Heartland has seen its share of broken bones and broken hearts, and Caleb knows healing doesn't happen overnight. This isn't just a physical recovery, it's emotional too. Jack, ever the steady heart of the ranch, shifts his focus to Dex. He hasn't forgotten the young man's disappearing act, and now that the chaos has settled, he's ready for answers. Dex hesitates, clearly torn between shame and pride. Finally, he confesses the truth. His appointment in town was a medical exam. His shoulder, once injured during his hockey career, has been declared permanently damaged. His dream of going pro, gone. The words hang in the air like dust in sunlight. Jack doesn't scold him. Instead, he nods slowly and says, "Sometimes life closes a door, so you'll notice the one that's been open the whole time." It's the kind of simple wisdom that defines Heartland. Dex doesn't respond right away, but the look in his eyes says everything. He's been seen, maybe for the first time in a long while. While Dex begins to find a quiet purpose at the ranch, the younger generation faces their own crossroads. Katie's night out has left her thoughtful. She didn't expect to see Dex there, drinking, laughing too loud, trying to impress friends who barely noticed him. It unsettled her, not because she judged him, but because it reminded her how easy it is to lose yourself trying to fit in. Later that night, when she found Dex walking back along the dark road, slurring apologies about the old guy at the ranch, something shifted between them. She saw not a fool, but a man trying to outrun his pain. The parallel to Amy and Ty's early story is clear, a subtle nod to the legacy of second chances that Heartland has always celebrated. Meanwhile, Amy can't shake the feeling that something's off about Nathan's story. She remembers small details, the way he avoided questions about his father's accident, how his expression darkened at the mention of Pike River. When she gently brings it up, Nathan brushes her off. "It's nothing you need to worry about," he says. But his tone betrays him. Amy knows better. In Heartland, secrets have a way of surfacing, no matter how deep they're buried. And this one, whatever it is, feels like it's tied to more than just family drama. At dinner, the family gathers. Jack, Lisa, Lou, Peter, Amy, and even Nathan, who sits quietly beside Ashley. It's one of those classic Heartland moments where conversation flows easily, and the sound of laughter fills the gaps between deeper worries. Jack raises a toast to second chances and safe landings, his voice warm but knowing. Caleb cracks a joke about his piloting skills, and everyone laughs. For a brief moment, it feels like the world is right again. But the camera, if this were on screen, would linger on the small details. Nathan's uneasy glance, Amy's thoughtful silence, and Jack's subtle frown as if he senses a storm still brewing. Later that night, Amy steps outside. The sky above Heartland stretches endlessly, full of stars. The horses rest quietly in the pasture. For all the peace, she can't shake a sense of unease. She thinks about the mysterious visitor Nathan mentioned, the stranger who asked about Heartland, and something in her gut tells her this isn't over. She looks back toward the house, where the light in Jack's office still burns. There's comfort in that glow, a reminder that no matter what comes next, this family has faced worse and survived. Inside, Jack is going through some old ledgers when he finds something strange, a name written in an old file connected to Pike River. His eyes narrow. It's a name he hasn't seen in years, and it ties directly to Nathan's father's past. The discovery is small, almost easy to overlook, but Jack's expression hardens. Heartland's peace may soon be tested again. The next morning brings a sense of cautious calm. Amy tends to the horses with Katie's help, their laughter floating over the corral. Lou and Lisa prepare breakfast while Caleb and Dex haul hay. Nathan, using a crutch, limps out to join them. The air feels lighter, as if everyone is finally breathing again. But beneath that calm lies the pulse of something unresolved, a sense that the events in the wilderness were only the beginning. Heartland has always been about healing, but sometimes healing means uncovering old wounds. As the camera of the mind pans out across the golden fields, it's clear. The Heartland family is home again, but the real test of their strength is still to come. The days following the rescue settle into a strange rhythm at Heartland. The ranch looks peaceful again, but everyone can feel the quiet tension running beneath it, like a storm waiting just beyond the horizon. Caleb throws himself into work, trying to ignore the ache in his shoulder and the weight of what almost happened. Nathan, still limping, spends more time around the barns, insisting he wants to pull his weight, but his distraction is obvious. Amy watches him from a distance, sensing that his mind isn't on the work. When she finally corners him, he admits he's been having nightmares about the crash, not of the fall itself, but of his father. He wasn't supposed to be at Pike River, Nathan says, his voice barely above a whisper. Amy presses gently, but before he can explain more, Lou calls her away. The moment breaks, leaving the truth hanging unanswered in the air. Meanwhile, Dex's story begins to unfold in quiet, emotional beats. Jack gives him small, deliberate jobs, mending fences, feeding horses, cleaning tack. Nothing too difficult, but enough to rebuild his confidence. Every task becomes a kind of therapy. He struggles, fails, and tries again. Katie often wanders out to watch him work, curious about this young man who seems so lost and yet so determined. Their conversations are awkward at first. Small talk about hockey, about school, about life in the city, but over time they grow more genuine. Dex tells her he used to think success was about being seen, about applause and trophies. Turns out it's more about showing up when no one's watching, he says, a quiet confession that could have come straight from Jack himself. Katie doesn't reply, but she smiles. Heartland has that effect on people. It strips away pretenses until only the truth remains. Back inside the house, Lou and Lisa share a conversation over coffee. Lou confides that she's been worried about Amy, how she carries the weight of everyone else's struggles, how she doesn't let herself rest. Lisa nods knowingly. She's got Jack's stubbornness, she says with a half smile. But Lou's expression softens as she glances out the window. Maybe that's what keeps this family together. It's a small scene, but it underscores one of the show's central truths. Heartland isn't just a place. It's a heartbeat that keeps its people alive, even when they falter. Later that day, Nathan receives a phone call that changes everything. He steps away from the others, voice low and tense. When he returns, he's visibly shaken. Amy notices immediately. "It was about your dad, wasn't it?" she asks. Nathan hesitates, then finally admits the truth. His father's accident wasn't an accident at all. The plane trip, the sudden emergency, it was all connected. Someone tampered with the equipment at Pike River, and now his father's in the hospital, refusing to say who was responsible. The only clue is a single name that keeps appearing in old contracts: Raymond Coulter. Amy doesn't recognize it, but Jack does. When he overhears the name, his face hardens. That's the same name from the ledger he found earlier. "Coulter used to work with us," Jack says quietly. "Years ago, before things went bad." The implication is clear. The trouble isn't just Nathan's family's problem. It's connected to Heartland itself. While Amy and Jack dig into the mystery, Caleb and Ashley share